It's time for Dirt Daily, and today we are back in the shop with the Give-a-Way Gladiator. This is the Jeep Gladiator that Cal4Wheel is raffling off, and if you would like to win it, go to cal4wheel.com and buy a raffle ticket. One of you is going to win this Jeep. This is a brand new Jeep Gladiator, and I'm doing a bunch of upgrades to it, and then next, I think January or February, they're going to pick a winner, and hopefully it will be one of you. Definitely it'll be one of you. Today's project is we're going to put a new rear bumper on the Gladiator. A lot of people get weirded out about the Gladiator, about how long it is, how much wheelbase it has, how much overhang it has. So we're going to put a bumper on that will protect this section so that if you're off-roading and you're kind of coming through ruts and climbing over rocks, hopefully it won't smash in the bed. However, did you know, supposedly, I was just told this, that the Jeep Comanche, the old Jeep pickup truck, actually had more overhang from the center of the rear axle to the back bumper. I've not measured it, but somebody that owns one told me that it has more overhang. So that was kind of interesting. So today's project, we are going to remove the rear bumper. We're going to put a new bumper on the back from Fab 4s. We also put Fab 4's rock sliders on this, a Fab 4's winch bumper on the front, because Fab 4's is part of the Warn family, and we are using a lot of components from Warn for the buildup of this. It has a Warn winch. It's going to have some suspension from a company that works with Warn, so it's going to have a bunch of other cool upgrades. But today's project number one, get the old bumper off and get the new bumper on. Removing the old bumper is really easy. You start by removing the license plate. Behind the license plate are two bolts. You have to unscrew those. You're going to want to save all of your hardware. Then you're going to undo a couple wires. One of them goes to your trailer brake plug. The other one is for your license plate light. Those just unplug, but there are some little like plastic Christmas tree clips that you need to remove. And then there's just two nuts on either side, two on the passenger, two on the driver's side, and then the whole bumper lifts right off. If you have factory tow hooks, now's a good time to remove those as well. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if these are reused with the new bumper, but if they're not, you definitely want to hold on to these because they're really nice, beefy tow hooks, and they would be great for whatever cheap truck project you're working on. They already have threaded holes. They have a nice hook. We're going to screw those bolts right back in there in case they don't go with the new bumper, and we will put those in the pile of cool stuff that we can use down the road. The old bumper is off. This is the Fab 4's bumper that will replace it. There are a few steps you have to do with the old bumper. You're going to want to remove the trailer brake plug and swap that over onto the Fab 4's bumper. Also, the license plate lights, there's these two little lights on either side that light up your license plate. You're supposed to order the ones for a Rubicon Gladiator with the steel bumper. You order those lights and they drop right in. I did not realize that. I did not see that note. Apparently that note is on the Fab 4's website and I missed it. I modified the bumper slightly to get the sport lights in here for the license plate. So it's going to work. It's just a little bit off from the instructions. Now the next step is to take these wings. These are going to wrap around the side of the Jeep. They're going to live like right up in here, and what they will do is act as not only a step to step up into the Jeep, but also to protect that corner when you're off-roading. So these go on the ends of the bumper. There's some little bolt plates with like threaded bolts welded in that stick out the side, and then this just slides onto those. And you put a few nuts and washers on. You don't want to tighten this up completely yet, but you do want to get it lined up and everything so that you can get it onto the back of the Jeep. Fab 4's does offer a bumper without these steps, these side guards, so if you're not into that look, or you want to have something a little bit different, they offer one that does not have these. I don't know if it just has like a shorter piece that goes on here or if it's a completely different center section. I'd have to look that up. I have the bumper on the bench here, supported by some wood, but also clamped in place, because once you start adding this weight to it, it gets precarious and wants to kind of flop around. On the back corners of the frame rail, there is some holes in the top of the frame rail, as well as some holes in this plate. And that is where this component will go. This is actually your recovery point. You can hang a shackle here. You can put a tow strap in there. This will slide right in here. And in the top of this, there are two threaded holes that have like nuts welded on the bottom. You're gonna grab some 1/2-inch grade 8 fasteners, and this will slide in, line up with those holes, and you will get the bolts started right in there. Once you get those two started, you're also going to come in here, and there's a hole in the bottom of the plate here that lines up with this flange, and you'll put a 7/16 bolt. There's like a stainless steel fastener because it'll be visible, and you'll put that through that hole. So this bolt, little button head guy, goes right there. It has flat washers and lock washers on both sides. So once we get that kind of finger tight, we'll come in here and tighten these down, and then we'll do the same on the passenger side. Some Gladiators have rear corner sliders. The Give-a-Way Gladiator does not, so we are going to add these brackets. These will attach to the frame with 2 metric bolts, and then also a long 4-inch bolt that will run through the trailer hitch portion of the frame. Time to put this bumper on this Jeep. I'm going to have it on my transmission jack, and I'm going to wheel it up here. The arms are kind of precarious because it wants to flip it off the jack stand. So we're going to bring it up in here and then try to bolt the bottom of these arms onto these gussets that are on the outside of the chassis. What are we up against? So what I'm finding is the receiver hitch is hitting the transmission jack, so I can't get it to slide on there. I'm now thinking I'm going to lower the Jeep down, and I'm just going to try and set the bumper on this spot right here where it will eventually live, and try to slide it into place without it scratching the paint from these wings. I got a new plan. I removed the wing things from the bumper, and look at that, the bumper just slides right in. I also took the tailgate off. It still has the little cables, but it's up out of the way. I removed those wing things because the bumper was so precarious, and I'm not doing this with a helper, so it was like falling over and trying to cut my fingers off. This way, I am going to attach the bumper to the brackets that have the tow hooks, and then I will come in and hopefully I can reach inside and get all the bolts started on the wing parts. It's a little bit precarious there. The instructions say to put it all together as one piece, but the instructions also say this is a two-person job, and here there's only one person. So we're not doing it that way. The bumper is on. It looks really good, actually. I kind of dig it. But I'm now going to add these wings, which are super beefy, and I'm figuring out that it's probably better to put the bumper on first and then add these instead of adding these as the instructions say. These things kind of need to have like 5 hands to do this. These little plates go right there. And then, there we go. Okay. Try not to scratch the paint. Put on the washer, the lock washer, the nut. Okay. Everything, all those bolts that I put on the back of the bumper, I added them. They're finger tight. They're not super tight yet. But if I get these started, then I'm really just down to some plates that cover this opening. And then these bolts come up through the bottom here and thread into some holes that I can't see. How about a flashlight? Aha. All right. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. Everything's coming together. You kind of got to stand on your head and wheel your left ear and point to the moon. Say a prayer and cross the fingers that it all comes together. There it goes. That's not too bad. I kind of dig that. I got a nice step here. This whole corner is protected. So if you come hooning through the desert and pitch the rear end out and clip a cactus, hopefully it doesn't cave in the side of your bed. We got to get in here and tighten up these bolts, the bolts that bolted it on to the recovery points, and then we have some cool plates that cover this. Kind of has like a Fab Fours compass looking style. So I'm gonna go put the other side on. The reason that you put these wings on, well, the reason the instructions probably tell you to put the wings on first is because these bolts that go to those plates that have like the welded plate to bolt heads, there's only one of these that you could access with an impact. The other 3, you're kind of coming in at an angle. So they probably think it's easier to assemble it beforehand. I think at the end of the day, after putting it all together, getting all of these bolt holes and everything lined up, it was easier to assemble it on the Jeep, and then you just kind of have to fight a little bit to get these tight. But they're on, the sides are on. The thing about bumpers is, and body armor in general, it's very, people love it or hate it. They either like the style or they hate the style. I think this is useful. because it has a step so you can get in. It has armor so that if you're on a tight trail and you come down on something or you kind of pivot around something, this should protect the body. It ties into the frame out here as well as back on the back. So take it or leave it. If you like how it looks, this is the Fab Fours bumper. Oh, there's one more piece. This piece goes right in here, and it kind of has this like laser cut design, kind of a compass within like 2 F's for Fab Fours, not for Fred's Farm, though that might be what you're thinking. And also it's held in with stainless steel fasteners. Whenever you're screwing stainless steel fasteners into steel or just about anything, I always try to put a little bit of anti-seize on. Stainless steel fasteners are, I find that they are notorious for cross-threading or breaking. So even on these holes, I went and I chased the threads with a tap because this was all powder coated, so you want to make sure that there's no powder coat in the threads before you bolt this plate on. This is just to kind of hide all the fasteners that are back in there, give it some style, give it some, show the logo. Just about everybody's bumper that you can buy for a Jeep has their logo cut in it or somehow. I think this is nice because it's subtle, but again, like I said, bumpers are like shoes, they're like clothes. It's like you either like how it looks or you don't. I think it turned out pretty good. The finish on it is pretty good. It has an interesting style, whether you love that or hate that. That is a wrap on the rear bumper on the Give-a-Way Gladiator. The Fab Fours bumper is bolted on. It has recovery points. It has these openings in case your Wrangler or your Gladiator has the backup sensors. This one does not. Also, there's some square holes in the corner here. You could mount some auxiliary backup lights, reverse lights, or just auxiliary lights. There's a tab up inside there. You can mount something and you could have extra lighting on the back. The wraparound style, love it or hate it. It is convenient to, as it has a step to climb in and also to protect the body. If you don't like that style, they do offer another one without that ending on it. So that's it. Don't forget to go to cal4wheel.com and buy your raffle tickets. All the funds from the raffle for this Gladiator go to fights to keep the trails open. So those trails in California that maybe you run every summer or maybe you would love to run sometime, like the Rubicon, Johnson Valley, Fordyce, all of those trails that you've probably heard of, Cal 4-Wheel is one of those organizations that fights to keep those trails open, and the funds from the raffle go to that fight. So buy your raffle tickets and hopefully, definitely one of you will be driving this Jeep next year. That's it for this Dirt Daily. We'll see you guys next time.